What happens when you pour coffee beans in boiling water?
I'm so glad you asked, Rita. The answer lies in a story. It begins in the morning, as most stories do. I enter the kitchen, make myself a nice cup of joe, and sit down beside my host parents. The radio informs us of yet another Thursday protest, which means the buses are shut down and I'm skateboarding to school, which is fine. I feel cool skateboarding across La Vilaine like a character in a book with somewhere to be. I do have somewhere to be. I arrive, out of breath and barely on time, to English class. There, we discuss life and death and love and chaos and everything in between. Then I have French, where we learn about Francophone traditions and cultural practices. I can't remember exactly what we talked about that day, but I'm sure I spoke lots of French and learned a ton. After morning classes, my friends and I go to Jean Massé for lunch. We laugh a lot and talk about something super intelligent and interesting, as per usual. To quote Maya Angelou, people won't remember what you said, but how you made them feel. Maya knew it was up. It's afternoon now, and I have art history with Monsieur Sabatier. Jonathan and Poppy can attest this man was the physical embodiment of laughter. He would open his mouth and the room would erupt. I love this class. Talking about art in French, somebody pinch me. We learn about artists and inventors who changed the game, like Marcel Duchamp, who decided that a toilet was art, because why not? We look at old Renaissance paintings of revolutions I've always heard of but never truly understood before now. Honestly, that sentence alone is reflective of my time in France, learning about things I thought I already knew. For example, I learned to boil pasta. Please hold your applause. I learned not to put utensils in the microwave, how to play chess, why World War I started, and of course, how to speak French. Anyways, school's over and I tootle around town with my friends. We listen to Tangerine by Led Zeppelin, and I split a white chocolate chip cookie with Amira. One of my friends, Zibby, asks us our favorite thing about French culture. Without hesitating, I think of cheese. We ask her answer, and she sits thinking for a bit, looking towards the carousel and other cafes full of people doing the same thing as us. She smiles and says that she loves cafe culture, the feeling of not being in a rush to get home after work, of savoring the moment with good food and good people. We all start tearing up because it's really profound and totally true. It's one of those moments of being, as Virginia Woolf would say. By this time, the buses are back up and running, so I hop on the 11 and say au revoir to my friends. I listen to some Amy Winehouse while crossing back over La Vilaine towards home, and I think about the fact that it's really starting to feel like home. Later that night, I go to my usual Thursday painting class at Le Centre Colombier with a bunch of cute old people. My painting teacher, Irene, is this badass chick with short hair who works at an art library, which, if you don't know, is basically like a book library, except with paintings and sculptures. It's very cool, very French. I sit quietly, working on a painting of an eyeball and listening to Charles Aznavour, who's basically the Mick Jagger of 1950s France. I remember listening to this beautiful French melody and being like, whoa, I actually understand what this song is about. That was a really cool feeling. I walk home from class because the 11 bus driver has decided enough is enough for the second time that day, and my bus isn't running. I can still see this moment in my mind. It's raining, there is no one else in sight, and an enormous puddle to my right. Suddenly, the puddle and I become one. I am standing on the left side of the road, completely drenched from head to toe. A bus has whizzed by, soaking me in a wall of sopping wet street water. I stop, clear in my tracks, and just stand there for a few seconds. Then I start laughing. It's a textbook tragedy. Poor little girl in a foreign country has to walk home in the rain and then gets assaulted by a puddle. Finally, I make it home. And as I peel off my sopping wet Brandy Melville ankle socks, dirty brown water still pooling in my shoes, my host parents tease me, and we sit down to eat a freshly made French dinner. The narratives we spin in our minds have a lot of control over our actual lives. In my mind, I wasn't a poor little foreigner. I actually felt at home in Rennes, even drenched in its streets' rainwater. So now it's time to answer the question that I'm sure has been burning in all of your minds. What happens when you put coffee beans in boiling water? It's Friday, during snow, and I'm sitting on top of Christina in Mr. Morrissey's office while Poppy snoops for images of his once full head of hair. I ask him why he has a bowl of coffee beans on his desk. He responds that when the water begins to boil, you have three options. You can be a carrot and shrivel up in fear. You can be an egg, hardening yourself to the world. Or you can be a coffee bean and change the water. Our reactions to the moments of difficulty define us, whether we choose to tackle these moments or they tackle us. Choosing to go to France was scary, and totally worth it. So, Drink coffee or street water or whatever makes you feel strong. Don't be afraid to change the water. You might just make it taste better.